Hello my friends and enemies alike, hope you're as good as can be in these dark times. The Stage 2 complaint response has finally arrived and did not fail to disappoint the expectations of corrupt or incompetent behavior by Walsall Council. Sorry for the long video, but make it to the end to see the man behind the curtain, the one responsible for all of this complaint being shut down, and I suspect many others. And oh yes, do we have a history dealing with this tyrant, who starts off strong as Walsall Council's go-to corrupt tyrant, enforcer, fixer, in the phone recording you're about to hear, but he ends up as the court jester with me just laughing at him. As per usual, they have labeled the single-page Stage 2 response with the usual James Bond movie rhetoric being private and confidential, for your eyes only, in order to silence me and not reveal the evidence. Which is quite apt, as I am about to introduce you to a real-life James Bond villain, in a recording from 6 years ago involving the exact identical scenario, including all familiar usual suspects that are still involved in breaching Walsall Council's very own complaint policies and code of conduct in order to shut down complaints and silence anyone who dares challenge Walsall Council to this very day. I am not able to show any documents yet. However, I can with amusement share the predictable update, which in Stage 1 they actually blamed me for the delay. The complaint was not delayed, it was ignored, stating it was a delay due to the complexity of the issues I raised. I believe the author of the complaint Stage 1 true written response should actually read as, "Sorry for the issues of corruption in a public office," and then its systematic cover-up. The explanation for the fraudulent, misleading, threatening without prejudice documents from Phil on overpayments, or maybe Phil Morrison, whose makes a cameo appearance the upcoming recording, in name at least, and the Walsall Council complaint response, wait for it. "Sorry, it was all a big mistake. There's your meaningless apology off you pop. Pip pip." They then admitted even more incompetence in the fraudulent demand for the £250 invoice that I cannot go into yet. Then one of my favorite jokes, hysterically added, "But you still have to pay." Based on what exactly? The fraudulent documents you just admitted arose from an error on Walsall Council's arithmetic. Walsall Council Complaints Department then addressed the issue of addressing the manipulation of my original complaint and changing it to a complaint mainly about council tax in Stage 1 by the Walsall Council agent Usman, who addressed me with my preferred and my correct identity by mistake according to the Stage 2 complaint response, apparently, which was one of the many reasons I presented lots of evidence required for the Stage 2 advancement. The author response, "Well, that's easy to guess," and I quote, "No additional evidence has been provided to warrant a change in our initial response, consequently this complaint will not be upheld." Remember, this whole saga started because Walsall Council sent me misleading, fraudulent documents not once or twice, but 5 times, demanding payment with the threat of court action, then conveniently labeled it a mistake, to what the law classes as a vulnerable adult. Upon challenging this, I have been ignored, gaslighted, lied to, intentionally misled and deceived, confused, threatened, insulted, treated with discrimination, been intentionally delayed by senior manager Nikki Kaur pretending to help me, all the time insidiously sabotaging and delaying my Stage 2 complaint, with Walsall Council Complaints Department justifying all of Nikki Kaur's actions as an oversight. She told me I had to inform someone if I was recording them. Wrong. And I proved her wrong in the phone call. Nikki Kaur, complaints team leader, made the decision herself to provide me with the wrong information. Ask yourself, who did that wrong information benefit? If believed, Walsall Council response, it was done as a courtesy. To provide me with the wrong, misleading information is a courtesy now, not a service failure, but a courtesy. Apparently, Walsall Council Complaints Department are in breach of their own complaints policies procedure, and more disturbing, their own codes of parliamentary conduct. And now in the Walsall Council corrupt or incompetent behaviour story, along comes a spider, the Bond villain himself, Mark Fern, customer engagement lead, and truly the author of all my pain. Mark Fern's job title, customer engagement lead, which translates into lead debt collector, Any department he is the leader of deals with revenue and debt recovery, and yet somehow this Bond villain has the power to take control of a Stage 2 complaint, ignore all the evidence that I have submitted, and absolve all Walsall Council agents of any and all wrongdoing, allowing the persecution of me by this public service to continue. And as expected, that Bond villain Mark Fern, who has terrorized me with lawfare for over 6 years with no resistance from me due to my illness, I just ignored him as his powerless agents applying for unenforceable discontinued from 2003 liability orders. Now it all makes sense. The corruption, the cover-up, the escalation. Mark Fern, the villain, the enforcer, is behind all of this, and you're about to hear why. For context, the recording was from 6 years ago, showing the senior complaint manager trying and failing to justify Walsall Council's failure to conform to its own procedures in the exact same scenario that was just shut down using the same mo. Alas, I was too ill to follow it all up last time, but Mark Fern had to stop taking money from my benefits. I won my DWP case, but he soon took advantage of my sudden illness. And that wretched villain from 6 years ago was none other than Mark Fern, who since then has perfected and honed his skills over a 17-year period at Walsall Council's enforcement departments, and has been rewarded with a new, longer, more important job title, to be accompanied with more money, perks and benefits, no doubt. Oh, and the service charge abuse at Green Square Accord in the complaint about in the unlawful £250 without prejudice invoice response was the service charges were carefully scrutinised by the benefits department, so no need for due diligence then. Just ignore all my video evidence showing taxpayers being ripped off for hundreds of thousands pounds. Pay attention in the recording to when Mark Fern uses the same exact words that he is still relying on today in order to shut down complaints, regurgitating the same old deceitful, plausible excuses, mistake and oversight, using it several times along with meaningless apologies to justify all wrongdoing, and bar far my favorite, states that I am gleaning information from the internet, when he himself on the phone call is actually utilizing information from the internet to justify his failure to adhere to the Walsall Council complaints process from the Ombudsman. Really? How arrogant are you, Mr. Fern, accusing me of something he has no evidence for, whilst doing the very thing he is accusing and mocking me for, all to justify his actions, or lack of them should I say. Thank you, and sorry for having to listen to me going on, but this is all relevant, I can assure you, for context even after 6 years. Also listen out for when Mark Fern states he requested the power to issue the council tax summons. Only a court and not Walsall Council can issue a court summons. So where did you get this magical power, Mr. Fern, that allows you, a council employee, public servant, to issue a court summons on behalf of Walsall Council? And finally listen to how casually and with some pride Mark Fern, I might add, secures over 1,400 liability orders in one block application. All court cases must be heard upon their own merit, or individually. Mark Fern's tried and tested council tax enforcement approach is ignore everything that does not justify Local Governance Finance Act 1992, which everything else at all costs is to either be ignored or circumvented, in order to pursue enforcement action against some of the most desperate in society, without one iota of compassion for the distress or misery of the people Mark Fern has targeted for a long time. Now that is a James Bond villain right there. Enjoy.
Is that Mark Fern?
It is, yes.
Oh, it's Mark here. I just had a couple of questions for you about the letter that you sent me, if that's
yes,
okay.
hello.
Hello, how are you today anyway? You alright, mate?
Thank you, yes.
I've got your response here, and what it is are you the senior manager who's dealing with this case?
Yes.
So you're the senior manager, yeah? That's right. Sorry, that's just what it is. I'm sending this to the Ombudsman, you see, and I've got a few questions, if that's okay. So you are the senior manager in this case, yeah?
Yes.
And you've sent me a letter saying, dated on the 7th of November. You know that, yeah? I've got a letter from you dated the 7th.
I actually wrote that letter.
Yeah, so you've sent this letter. The question I've got is, to give to the Ombudsman, I'd have to wait 8 weeks from the time that you was meant to have sent this letter. So what is the actual date that I should have had this letter? Please.
Just one moment, let me have a look. our complaint procedure.
Yeah.
Which obviously I accept we were late on that.
No, you weren't late. You just didn't acknowledge me.
Well, we were late in getting the response. That response should have been with you by the 21st of October by our complaints process.
Yeah.
The local government ombudsman says that we should normally respond within 12 weeks.
No, within 10 days actually. But
well, I'm reading direct off their website at the moment. But anyway, which says this should usually be within 12 weeks.
So you just on the Ombudsman's website to see what time you had to respond to me. Is that correct?
It's looking at their website and it says make a complaint. It says that you can complain to them if your problem has not been put right, or if you have not had a response within a reasonable time. This should usually be within 12 weeks.
That's 12 weeks now, but what I'm talking about your complaints policy. You're not.
Well, as I said, I accept that it was not within the complaints. We did not meet our complaints process policy, and if we had have done, you would have had the response by the 21st of October.
Can you explain to me why you didn't do that, you personally?
I personally, it was getting the response and other things, and I missed the deadline.
No, that's not an answer, is it?
That is the answer that is there.
So the answer. Can you just confirm again? What was the reason why you didn't respond to me in the time frame?
I missed the timeline because of other commitments and getting the answer.
So you missed you've missed the deadline twice on this complaint because you hadn't got the answers.
Well, because
I'm not being awkward and everything. What it is, when I send the report, I've got to put the reason why you didn't respond, and you're not giving me a reason why you didn't respond.
The reason is we accept.
Not we. I mean you personally. Why didn't you respond?
This I am accepting, and you can put this on your response that we were late.
No, not we. You keep saying we. I mean, why didn't you respond?
What you can put on there is that I accept that my response was not within the council's own timelines. I apologise for that. And that was a number of reasons.
I want the reason.
That will be sufficient for the local government ombudsman.
So the sufficient reason for why you've failed to acknowledge me twice in a complaint when I've had to respond, I've had to go through the Human Resources Department to get you, is that you had, what was the reason again?
It was a combination of the other issues being dealt with and not getting round to it.
Why didn't you put that in this letter then?
Because what I said was I apologise.
Yeah, I can see that you apologise. Yeah, but
I accept and I apologise that it was delayed.
Yeah.
They said you had 2 questions. What was the other question?
No, I've got more than 2 questions. What it is I'm trying to bring this complaint together now. Yeah. So I've got a few questions for you where you haven't I've identified that you was the senior manager. I've identified that you've apologised but not given a valid reason why you haven't dealt with it twice. P. Morrison hasn't dealt with it correctly, and you haven't dealt with it correctly. And I'm just trying to get the responses. His response, it was an oversight. I'm just trying to get what your response was. Are you saying it's an oversight again, like?
It was a combination of an oversight in not meeting the deadlines and other commitments. As I said, the letter does apologise for actually doing that.
Well, an apology is acceptable sometimes when it's sincere and heartfelt. I don't feel like it's sincere and heartfelt, so it's irrelevant. Apology, it may explain your actions, but it doesn't excuse them, does it?
Well, that's your opinion.
Yeah, it is. No, well, it's not my opinion because, it's going to an adjudicator and it's going to court. So it's not really my opinion. I'm just trying to get the facts. I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be awkward or anything. I'm just what it is. You haven't sent me the information that you sort of sent me. So to write my case, I've got to get all the information I can. I'm not being awkward. I'm just trying to clarify the reason why you have failed to respond to me twice. And you're saying we. Council, us, I'm not on about you,
hi then, Mr.
I'm on about you personally.
Yeah, I am happy to accept that I did not respond to you within the time of our own council's policies.
Yeah, we've established that. I want the reason for it.
Well, I've given you the reason.
So the reason, so you say, no, you just said this, that, so I want the exact, is it an oversight or what's the actual reason?
Well, if it is the fact that I just missed the deadline, it was an oversight.
You missed the deadline. It was a month. What was the actual date again, please?
The 21st of October.
21st of October. It is now, what? It's the 20th of... So you've missed the deadline by a month. 28 days you've missed the deadline, and you're saying it's an oversight. This is what I'm trying to clarify.
Okay,
what's the reason why you haven't...
Answer. That obviously will be for the ombudsman to...
Yes, it will be... their
determination
Yeah,
on.
that's true, but I also wanted to see, I just wanted to get what your response was. Like, you know what I mean? I'm only asking, it's a legitimate question. Why did you fail to respond? That's all I'm asking. And you're saying the first excuse for P. Morrison was it was an oversight. You haven't put an excuse, you've just put an apology with no explanation. So I'm curious, what was the reason? It's a valid question, isn't it?
And I'm giving you the
Would you be asking the same thing? Hello?
I've given you the answer.
What was the answer, please?
I said it was an oversight.
So you can confirm it's just an oversight by yourself,
Yes.
yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted. Thank you for that. Next question. Let's have a look. Blah blah blah. To the date. Oh yeah. About the promissory note. You said you've put in your letter that you don't accept promissory notes.
That's correct.
Have you got any? So you don't adhere to the bills of exchange of 1882. You can confirm that.
Obviously, if you wish to take us, obviously, if you wish to reopen the liability order, I've explained your process.
It doesn't matter because by the time it gets...
As regards the obtaining of the liability order, the letter explains our position, and that is the actual position. If you wish to take that further, you need to go to...
Yeah, I am going further. All it is, I'm just doing the case, and you've wrote this letter, so you've got your names on it, so I've just got a few questions for you, if that's okay. I mean, I'm
happy to confirm that the council does not accept promissory note.
So you're basically saying...
If you wish to take us to court on that, then I suggest you do reopen the actual liability order.
Oh, don't worry, I've got a better idea. I'm just trying to clarify. So basically, what you're saying is here is like on the 20th of in your letter, it says on the 20th that you went to court and you did this case as a block application. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And you did how many? 1,451 cases in one afternoon as a block application.
I don't know the exact number on that one, but
you put it in your letter.
That does not sound an unusual amount of numbers. No.
So basically, you've in a block application at a court that's got no record of you applied for 1,451 summonses in one go. That's correct. By Gurdit Court. That's correct, yeah.
That is correct, yes.
Do you know anything? You do know about the law that each case must be heard on its own merits. So you're familiar with that at all? You might want to look at the courts and tribunals, judiciary.
We're going down the same lines I explained.
No, I just wanted to clarify. I just wanted one more thing with you.
If you've got any issues with obtaining the liability order, then the matter is for you to go to the magistrate and ask them to reopen.
Yeah, I will do that, but I just wanted to clarify something because this is what you've put in here, so basically you're liable for what you're saying here, so I'm just clarifying what you've said because I've got to send this to the Ombudsman and I've got to send it to the court.
The application for the liability order was done under the Council Tax, Admin and Enforcement regulations.
Which is a statute law, but carry on, yeah, which requires my consent.
It's made under the Local Government Finance
Local
Act.
Finance Government, yeah, I know, I've read it, I know about it, I've read it, I know, but that's a statute act, requires my consent. So that's what I just wanted one more question, then I'll let you go to...
It doesn't require your consent.
You don't require my consent?
No.
Is that what you believe? So you know the difference between a statute act and a law?
You've gained information from the internet. We have dealt with that issue before.
Yeah, no, it's not a problem. I'm not arguing with you or anything.
I just believe you are.
Clarify
but anyway,
something.
That's a different matter.
Can I just clarify one more thing, and then I'll let you go to whatever you do. On the application that you said you've the 1,451 complaint summonses that you issued from the council. And it says you applied for them on the afternoon when you applied for mine, does that make sense?
We laid a complaint earlier on, as the letter explains. We requested the power to issue the summons.
Where did you get the power from?
We then went to we had a court hearing where a block application was done.
Oh, yeah. What, could you tell me what jurisdiction that court lay in? Because this is a civil matter, isn't it?
It's a matter. The application was done under the Local Government Finance Act
1992. Yeah, I know.
Made under it.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is I'm just confused. Is this a civil matter?
That it's made under that. I would repeat my answer previous about the liability order. If you wish to take that further, then you need to go.
Oh, I am taking it further. I'll just.
Well, then I think we wait for the outcome of that.
Yeah, no problem. I just needed the dates. I just wanted to I had one more quick question. So just on this afternoon, when you did all these block applications, and you charged £66 a time, I've calculated that you earned £95,766 in one afternoon. Would that be correct?
If that is what the sums are, then that is correct.
So let me confirm that you, Gertie Kaur, on behalf of you lot, went to court and earned £95,766 in one afternoon by dealing with all the applications in a block application. Is that correct?
The level of cost are requested to the magistrate.
Oh, I know how it works. I'm just
wanting
you to confirm it.
Them. It is within the calculation of the cost which we apply for are within the findings and the advice given under the recent Nicholson case and the advice from the judge in that on how to calculate what.
On whose? The judges, did you say?
The judge in the Reverend Nicholson case. The Nicholson against the Highbury Magistrates, I believe it is.
Oh yes, carry on.
The calculation of the court cost is in accordance with the advice given in the decision of that case.
Yeah, but all cases have to be heard on their own merit, and you've clearly said here that you've done it in a block application for £1,400, which earned you £95,000 in one afternoon. Does it say that in the Nicholson case?
It explains how to calculate the
it explains that, if you read it properly, it explains that each case has to be held on its own merits, and you've charged everybody £66 on that day for that comes to £95,000, and that's not what it says in that case. Cases have to be heard individually.
The case does actually give an outline and a way to calculate the cost, and that's what we've done.
Yeah, for everybody, exactly the same. That's what my argument will be to the Ministry of Justice, that you've calculated everyone's price. And what was it? I did have one more question for you, to be fair, then I'll let you go. What was the question now? Oh yeah, about you personally have applied to take money out of my benefits from the DWP, is that correct?
Me personally, no.
Yes, you have, because I've got a letter from you.
The authority acting under the liability order has done that under the provisions.
So you're telling me, can I just stop you there then? So you're telling me that you personally haven't applied for any deductions from my benefits?
I don't understand by the question, you personally. I did not send the form off.
Well, I've got a document in my SARS request with your name on it, dated the 9th of September, saying you personally applied for deductions from my benefits.
In that case, because I am the...
Have you just lied to me?
No, Mr. What I'm saying is, I am the manager of the section, so my signature goes on that letter. I was not the person...
So you've got signatures on letters that you've got no knowledge of?
But
is that what you mean?
I think we will end this conversation.
I think we should, because you basically just lied to me, and you basically just said that you haven't sent a document. I've got a document in my source request.
Situation, you're trying to twist what I'm saying.
I'm not trying to twist it. I asked you a simple question. Document in my request with your name on it, dated the 9th of September. I've just asked you, have you sent that document? You've just said, no, I haven't. Then you've just said my signature goes on to it.
Mr. If you've got any...
what?
With the way that we've done...
Oh, I have. I've got plenty of issues. Like I says, this is going to the Ombudsman, this is going to the Ministry of Justice, and you're going to court. I'm just asking you.
And this is the final comment.
So you're just going to leave with a final comment about, basically, you've just recorded phone call that the document that I've got here that you've applied for my benefit deduction, you just says that you ain't sent it.
I'm happy to agree that my name is on the bottom of the
Well, you just said earlier that it wasn't making money. You just said you haven't sent
it. Mr. What I said was I wasn't the person that sent the form off.
So why has it got your name on it?
On the bottom of the letter.
Oh, so you did send this letter then?
I've explained what.
Oh, you ain't really explained. You've given your version of it. That's not an explanation. That's your interpretation of it. And you think that's like fact? It's not. I'm asking you. All I'm asking you is about a document that's got your name in it. You refuse.
And I've explained it to that.
No, you haven't. I'm still asking you about the document. It says that you've sent a document.
It's the end of the conversation now.
Well, that's okay. I'm just going to repeat you anyway. So this is going to the Ombudsman, so that when they can listen to it, how obstructive and obtrusive you've actually been.
Then please.
No, I am. I don't need please. I don't need your permission. All I'm saying is these phone calls are all going to the Ombudsman and they will listen to them. And I'm showing how obtrusive and obstructive you've been. I'm asking you a question about a document that you've got your name on about deductions from our benefits with a liability order that you've got from a court that's got no record of it. You won't even engage with what I'm trying to say.
We have
we keep saying we. I'm asking you personally. There is no.
I'm going to say finally two things. And that will be the end of the...
Well, I'm going to say finally two things to you. You've just lied on a recorded phone conversation. You've made it very difficult and obtuse. You've applied for benefits from a deduction of my benefits and it's got your name on it. In the SARS request, I haven't got the response from in there, so I've complained to the ICO about that. You've put your name on that document, and you might be dealing with people who don't know anything about the law, but I do, and I do people personally, not a council tax department, not we, us, or them, you personally, and you've got your name on this document, so I'm asking you, as a representative of a council, and you work for the people, being us. You're a government body, you've got a duty to explain what you've done. So I'm asking you, you've put a document saying you're going to deduct benefits from my disability benefits. I've got mental health issues. Now I'm asking you that you've put your name to that document. Is it correct?
I am confident that the liability...
What are you confident of?
I am confident that the liability order was obtained correctly.
No, you're confident because that's your interpretation. I keep explaining, that's your interpretation. But I know a little bit more about liability orders. It's can't issue liability orders. The court has got no record of me being at court. The only records are you.
Right, Mr. I am going to end the conversation.
Of course you are, because you ain't explained the answer to the question.
Anywhere.
I'm asking you to answer the question. You put your name to a document. I'm asking you about the document that you put your name to. You won't answer questions to me. Why?
No, I've been trying to explain.
I'm asking you. Okay, then let's skip back a second. Let me explain the question. Then the question is: on the 9th of September, you personally put your name to a document that applied to take deductions from my benefits. I'm asking you about a document that you've put your name to, and you're being all awkward, facetious, and obtuse. And I'm asking you, can you explain that to me? That's all I'm asking. I've got a right.
Right, the explanation is we have a liability order. We are confident that that liability order was obtained correctly. And because of that liability order, that gives the authority...
No, it doesn't give you the authority. You don't have the authority to pass my details to a third party for starters, so without my consent, and you don't have it. You may think that you've got this, and you may do this to other people. Like you says in your own letter, this is practiced across the country. Yeah, and it's probably right, and I probably ain't going to get nowhere, but I'm going to get somewhere with you and the rest of your team because you're acting improper. You're in breach of your own guidelines. You're in breach of your own procedures. You can wrap it up and say it's an oversight, but when somebody else looks at this who isn't you lot, they'll see a different... You keep saying it's an oversight, so it was an oversight for P. Morrison, it was an oversight for you. You've left me a month, you won't answer the questions, you ain't provided me documents, and you know won't even explain, and you just keep saying it's a liability order. I'm not asking about the liability order, I've already got the fake liability order. I'm asking about the deductions that you've authorised from my benefits, and you keep saying liability order.
Because that is the power, that is what gives us the authority to do.
Oh, does it? Oh, you think you've got the authority, but what I'm asking you is this simple. Can you confirm that you've sent these documents to take deductions from my benefits based on that liability order that you have obtained? And you can say it's legal as much as you want, but when it gets to court, or at these times, there's no record of it being issued by Black Country Managers. You've issued that liability order and that summons through yourself by claiming it's from a court portal. But if it's from a court portal, how come the court has got no records of it at all whatsoever? And
then I suggest you go back to the court.
I've already been to the court, so I've got the evidence recorded. I've got evidence saying there is no liability order been issued for Walsall managers. There is no...
Believe that we haven't, then I think you should take the necessary...
I am taking... No, I don't need you to tell me what steps to take. This is not my first rodeo. What I'm asking about is the paperwork that you've put your name to. And you've put your name to this that's going to take deductions from our benefits. So I'm asking... And in the response, you haven't sent the response in the SARS request. So I'm asking you, where is the response in this SARS? I mean, I'm already complaining to the ICL about. I'm ringing your people with the ICL straight after this to find out.
Okay.
So I'm already reporting to the ICL for not providing me documents, and there's documents missing from the SARS request. So I'm asking you about this document.
Which documents do you believe are missing?
The document on the 9th of September which you won't let me speak to you about, that you've put your name to for the deductions of benefits. It says there should be a response to that letter. There is no response. It says turn over leave, put the response. There's no response from the DWP for this letter, because I've now got to make a complaint to the DWP and provide them with all this evidence to make sure they've done due diligence, and they haven't, because they haven't checked you out. So I'll have a complaint logged, and I'm sending all this evidence to the DWP. I'm sending all this evidence to the ICN. I'm sending it to the Ombudsman, and when I'm finished, I'm sending it to the I might as well send it to the Ministry of Magic, but to be fair, I'm sending it to the Ministry of Justice. And then when I'm thinking, oh, this is going on YouTube about the way you lot carry on, and then if I can get enough evidence, I'm sending it to the MP, because the way your department is totally corrupt, mate, and you're part of it. And I'm asking you about a document about deductions of benefits, and you won't even talk to me about it, and you put your name to that document.
I think we aren't going any further in this conversation.
Are you going to explain to me about this document or not? I'm asking you about a document.
I've explained what the document is.
You haven't explained anything.
Don't like the answer that I've given.
I'm asking you to. What was the DW's response to that?
We need to progress this any further.
Can you just answer this question, please? What was the DW's response to the document you sent?